just going to jump right into it. My name is John Panighel. I'm the Senior Digital Marketing Manager for Adidas Canada, so in charge of really driving all of our digital and performance marketing vehicles, paid search, display, CRM, and some social marketing. So today I want to go over a couple things. I want you to come out with this, with the ability to come up with a strategy and how you can use some of the different social channels and digital marketing channels that we're using to kind of better find your customers, be more efficient, and ultimately make your dollars perform the best. So we'll go through setting your objectives, targeting, some tactics, how to manage your data, and then we'll talk about being an agent of change, because I think that's something really important. And then we'll go through the final takeaway. So I just want to give you a quick introduction of who I am. I grew up in a very small town out of Toronto, Canada. I attended one of the largest schools in Toronto, Ryerson University, majoring in commerce, minoring in commerce, minoring in e-commerce. I have 10 years digital experience working with some of North America's biggest players like Sears, Home Depot, Canadian Tire, and OfficeMax. I'm a lover of sports. I love all sports. Football or soccer, I grew up playing for about my whole life. Hockey, skiing. And my favorite soccer teams are obviously the Canadian men's national team and AC Milan, because my father was born and raised there. How many people have been to Canada before? Anywhere? Okay. More than the last session when I was here last year. That's good. So I just want to give you a little breakdown of our demographics, like what it kind of looks like throughout our country. We have a population of over 36 million people. We're the second largest country landmass in the world, and we have 2 official languages, French and English. And it's projected by 2036 that Canada will be home to more than 200 ethnic groups, and that of the immigrant population, and it will represent 24 to 30% of it. So if you think about it, this is a demographic in Canada that's constantly changing. So you need to be able to adapt your digital marketing strategies as these new cohorts of immigrants and ethnicities come into your country. Interesting fact, basketball was invented by a Canadian, James Naismith, while working in the US. Canadians bought over almost 30,000 tickets to the World Cup in 2014 here in Brazil. Our women's national team is actually ranked higher than the Brazilian women's national team. Go Canada. Our men's team, not as good. So you guys have the one up there. So I want to talk about Adidas' core belief, and it's through sport we have the power to change lives, and this is something that's rooted deep within our company. Today, I want to talk about through effective digital marketing, you have the power to connect and engage and inspire your consumers. So I want to take kind of the sports belief and put it into the digital marketing practices. Here to Create is essentially a strategy that we've implemented for the past couple of years that really talks about how we activate both our athletes and sports franchises, but along with our originals creators. And it talks about being collaborative, breaking down boundaries, being diverse in the marketplace. And it really, we take this, not only just in our marketing, but kind of our everyday ways of working as well. So I want to roll a video right now that shows some of this.
Calling all creators.
Those with the need
to make something new. Who are obsessed with progress.
Creativity is everything in today's game.
It's about making a statement.
I think what we're all trying to do is leave a mark so the game will never be the same.
The game will never
be the same.
We're all creators, related by a mindset.
That's our job, to continue to try to enlighten while we inspire.
I've been taking an example of it, but now I have to create for myself. It's not about borders,
gender,
or race.
I ain't trying to stay in my lane. I'm trying to strike while the iron hot.
It's all intertwined. Fashion inspires music.
Art, design, and sport together.
Come on, Hopkins. You know you listening to Pusha T before you hit the field. And Aaron Rodgers, maybe you should.
Join us.
Join us.
Pull up a chair.
Let's change sport.
Change lives.
Let's create.
Let's create.
So, calling all creators, look around, to the people beside you. You are all here because you are the creators in the companies that you work with to develop digital marketing and e-commerce strategies. You are the true creators, and I want to help you develop some kind of strategies that you can take away from this. Does everybody believe that? You guys think you're the creators or what? Come on. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but could be a language thing. 3 things I want you to take away. 1, I want you to identify who your target market is and your target demographic and how you will communicate with them. Think about it. I want to take a second right now and think, who is your target demographic? Now I want you to think about what KPIs you will use to determine what success looks like. Is success a conversion on a sale online? Maybe it's getting somebody to watch some of your content. And the last piece I want you to take away is, how can you leverage data across your different marketing channels, digital marketing channels, to effectively help you connect with your consumer? So today I want you to identify success with your consumers, and I'll show you a couple of things that we can do that. So starting at the first one, setting your objectives. Ask yourself what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of different companies, whether you're a retailer, you could be a consumer packaged goods brand. Define what a conversion is to you. Like, what are you looking for? It could be a purchase, right? It could be an email sign up, capturing somebody's data. Someone's email address is very important because you can communicate with them. You can put them into a data management platform, which houses all of this kind of different information about their purchases, what they like. A store locator view, I think, is really important. If somebody's trying to find your store and you're not showing up, how are they supposed to get to a retail location? So if somebody's just on their mobile device and they want to find your store, and they actually click on your paid search ad and find your store, to me, that's a conversion. Content consumption. A lot of you have social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. People coming on and viewing it, they're actively showing you that they want to come and consume your content. So it's important, if they do that, how do you continue that conversation? Or are you just going to feed them the same thing they saw? Probably going to be a waste of an impression. So you want to think about like that customer journey and how you're feeding them different pieces of content. How will you measure them? A sale, a view, data captures, likes. All of these things are important to look at, like how you set your objectives. The second part, the consumer. This kind of comes down to targeting them. Once you have your objective set, who is your consumer? Is it are you looking at your current consumer first? Or are you looking at your future consumer and who you want to come buy your product? Where are you going to be able to find them? Are they online? Are they offline shopping in retail stores? Or are they doing both? What's the best channel to communicate with them? Email, social, maybe it's a one-to-one when they walk into the store, or SMS. SMS is, which is text messaging, is a really interesting channel right now. Everyone's heard of the millennial cohort. So millennials are between the ages of, let's say, 18 to 35 years old right now. Well, anyone below 18 is considered Gen Z. And they don't want to give their email address out. They don't want to give you personal information. But what we do know is that they connect. They always have their cell phone. And if you send them a text message, they're going to open it 90% of the time, whether it drives them to a store or to see a new piece of content, or if you have a new shoe dropping or anything, that's the new channel, and that's something that I think you guys should focus on as well. What we talked to them about, product, content, services, and then I think the important thing is once you have your objective set and your consumer, think about what you want to know about them. So if you get an email address, do you want to know where they're located? Do you want to know their purchase frequency? So if they're a prospect and haven't purchased from you, what are you doing to get them to purchase? Do you have a welcome program in your email? Are you targeting them heavily in Facebook or social media channels? Or if it's a multi-purchase consumer who's purchased lots of times, how do you get them to up their frequency or buy more? Maybe with a member program or a VIP program would help. So targeting. Has everyone seen the marketing funnel before? It's not really new. I see a lot of cameras going up to take pictures, so I'll say, just wait, because there's more coming to it. Really, it starts with the brand awareness. So the awareness piece is how you get your brand name out there, how you get people aware to it. Consideration is more, once they know about your brand, how do you be the one that they're going to consider to buy? And how do you get them their intent to purchase how do you get your brand up in front of them when they have an intent to purchase? And then we have the purchase, loyalty, and advocacy. So as I said, awareness is really impression-based. It's TV commercials, it's social advertising, it's website takeovers. And then we have the consideration and intent, which is paid performance. So that's your paid search. When somebody's actively looking for an Adidas Ultra Boost running shoe, we know that they're considering us. We know that they have intent to potentially make a purchase. We want to make sure we're winning the digital shelf here. And then you get to the purchase point, and then you get to loyalty. So loyalty really is, what are you doing once they've purchased to continue this conversation? At this point, they're a one-time buyer. You want to get them to the multi-purchase buyer level, so their average lifetime value of acquiring them lowers. So if you have a $10 cost per acquisition for a customer to make a purchase, it's great. You might have sold a $100 product, cost you $10 to get them to your website to convert. It's a pretty good return on ad spend. But what if you get them to convert 10 times? Then that cost of acquiring them drops significantly. And you can measure this through things like a Net Promoter Score or a callback survey, or using them to upload user-generated content. Having the user rate your products, which in the end will help consumers purchase because they believe that they are real. They're real people uploading ratings and reviews or pictures. So once you have the funnel, this is where you should start thinking about your audiences. So capture, convert, and retain is a strategy that we have when we look at anything we do from a digital marketing perspective. If one of our projects isn't hitting one of those, we need to seriously rethink it or think about how we can get it to. So what we do with the audience creation part is we flip it. We put retain, convert, and capture, and this is how we develop our audiences. So let's take this example. We have 100,000 people that have made purchases on our website, and we know that because we have their email addresses, we have them in our database, and all the information about their purchases is in there, and we know that of our, let's say, million-person database, we have 100,000 people that like soccer. So we start there. Then we look at people that have visited our website and have engaged in a consideration of they might buy a soccer product. So let's call that 300,000 visitors. So we take that 400,000 and we put it into Facebook, we put it in Instagram, we put it in the Google Display Network, and we have our audiences of our consumers that we know have made a purchase and that have interest in our brand. So that's really kind of the consideration and intent. But what about the awareness piece? How do we use that data that we know about our consumer to acquire new ones, that high level, and send impressions out there? Well, we activate lookalike audiences. So once you put these audience groups into Facebook, in the Google Display Network backends, you can add lookalike audiences. So that's people that look like your current audience. And this is really important because this is what can really help grow your brand's consumer base. So now that we've done that, we have 600,000 people in Facebook that that are similar audiences to our retain and convert customers. So now our audience is about 1 million strong that we're going to go out with the soccer campaign. So we'll run the marketing campaign for 4 weeks. We'll see how it performs. But it's really important that you keep the segments aside when you're measuring them, because you should know the lookalike audience probably not going to perform as well just because they don't have the same brand engagement that they've had. And so you look at the retain and convert and make sure those are still high as well. So let's look at targeting and continue this, but let's look specifically with online and how we get to that data about how do we find what the consumer is interested in. So let's look at this journey of a 6-week journey of this consumer who first clicked on an Adidas Originals email. He then came to our website and viewed football, soccer products. He also viewed Originals product a couple weeks later, looked at it again, and then finally, at the end of the 6 weeks, he made a purchase. So what you should do is give different weights in action, or different weights to different actions. So a purchase should have a high weight because you know that person's actively liking that specific product group. A page view with browsing, somebody probably sees 6 to 7 pages on our website at any given visit, so that would have a lower weight. And an email click, although it's just the entry to our site, they actively said, hey, I like this email that shows the newest soccer boot. Let's click on it and go to it. So that might have a higher weight than page views. So what you do is you put them together in some sort of algorithm. Honestly, I'm not smart enough to figure it out. We have people in the global team to do that. And it gives you a score. So this customers would net out at about a 30 score for Originals, let's say, just making it up, and a football score of 7. So this is how we take this information and then go back to that retain piece. If I can go back one slide. The retain piece to really start it off. So that's important, really important about capturing this data. I want to show you an offline example of a retail store. We recently did a test with Google. It was over about a 4-month period where we looked at, we wanted to know where, we know mobile devices in Canada, we know that mobile visits to our website have surpassed desktop in Canada. So we wanted to know where consumers are starting their journey, and we made an assumption that it's mobile. But we wanted to know if they're doing it for research purposes and then going into stores. So what we did is we worked with our Google team to set up proximity locations within our stores. We had a couple of assumptions that if somebody went to one of our stores and stayed at that location for over 6 minutes, we made assumption that they made a purchase, right? And everybody that went in there, 10% of them made a purchase. And then we just took our average order value, which I believe was $100. So what ended up happening is we have this audience of people searching on their mobile devices for anything to do with Adidas. It could be shoes, it could be apparel, and it could be just looking for an accessory piece, like a soccer ball for a game. So we created this audience, and then once they went into one of our stores, we came up with this algorithm that essentially says 10% of somebody coming in is going to make a purchase at $100. So what we saw is we drove, in the 4 months, 16,000 people from online advertising into a retail location. So based on that 10% and the average order value, we ended up generating approximately $160,000 in sales for our retail partners. Now in Canada, it's set up as direct-to-consumer, which is retail and e-com, but this is showing me that our digital ad dollars should also be catered towards retail and how we help drive people into stores when they're in that kind of go moment and they're running down the street and they're like, I need something for a yoga class, I forgot my shirt. And like, how do we be front and center that we can then get them to look at our ad, find us on the store location that links to Google Maps, and get them to run into one of our stores to make a quick purchase. Is everyone with me still on that? A little bit, couple head nods, some blank faces, it's okay. Tactics. So really, there's a couple things that I think you should focus on, and this one I'll call as like capturing the digital shelf. So what this means is you want to take up the most real estate as possible when a consumer is looking for your brand. So if you look here, this is the paid search ad when someone's looking for Adidas running shoes. We have some other competitors here, which are wholesale accounts, and then our SEO ranks really, really well below. And then we also have our products here. So when a consumer is looking on a desktop version, we're trying to capture the most real estate as possible. And this goes and is even more important on mobile because the mobile digital shelf is a little bit just bigger than this device, right? So there's not as much real estate, but I would argue to say it's the more important real estate to capture. Product listing ads. This kind of goes towards this mobile focus. So we know over 50% of our traffic's coming to Adidas website is from a mobile device. We need to capture this. We need to capture this shelf space. So someone's looking for Adidas Stan Smiths. We're essentially the first thing they see. They should think right away, either going to a retail store location, but first and foremost, just going to Adidas and buying something online. We had our mobile moment in 2016, which essentially is coined by Google, is when mobile searches and traffic surpasses your desktop. Product listing ads now represent about almost 40% of our Google spend, and our clicks are up 63%. Our return on ad spend's up 18%. Our revenue's up a whopping 110%, and our average order value is up 11%. So if you're not playing in mobile advertising, you should be. It is the future. It is where people are first encountering your brand. I would say this is probably one of the most critical things, if you take away today, that you should be focusing on. Social. You'll see with the next slide too, it's about keeping things consistent. Sometimes people try to just go overboard with having 400 different variations of creative. We launched this Addy color campaign, which was essentially different colorways, black, white, red, yellow, blue, green, of different products. And we just wanted to keep it plain and simple and highlight the different colors. This social campaign had over 14 million impressions and drove home a return on ad spend of over $8. We launched it across email, social, Google Display Network, paid search, affiliates, all of which had this consistent look and feel. If you see this GIF of this banner here, and you'll see in the email as well. The email had a really high open rate of over 12%. Our audiences was really based on our data, started with the data of our consumers, and really starting there from the retain piece and growing it out of people that have been to our website, people that have showed interest and consideration for it. And then we created a lookalike audience to essentially amplify and create a bigger audience for us. Our Instagram posts had a return on ad spend of almost $8. This is the highest campaign we've ever seen our Instagram social campaign drive. So this showing the creative was really resonating and clicking, and we had the right audience for it. And then we tested out a Facebook collection ad, which was something new that we haven't tried before. So we had the one you see here, and then we had ones with green, with showing all green products, all red, and all blue. And we saw a really good result with that because it's consistent and color pops. If you guys are using black and white and gray creative, I could say stop. I would say do a test with color because it pops. Think about somebody scrolling. What's thumb-stopping creative? You do black and white, it's going to look like something that's in the feed. You do something color like this that pops out, people, stops. What's this? And then hopefully clicks on it, goes to the website, makes a purchase, and then everything's great. Our email part of this campaign. So again, highlighting the different colors, we thought it was very important to show not just the featured blue, green, yellow here, but also the little GIF of all the other ones. Again, it's eye-catching. When you're in somebody's inbox, it's very bland. So this, when you see it in Gmail, it has the rotation. It gets really, really into the consumer. So our average click-to-open rate outperformed our average at about 12%. Average order value of 130, which is above our average. And our top-selling products were, believe it or not, this yellow little baby jumpsuit, which I think is amazing. I don't have a kid, but I will buy one day. The green track pant, a crew neck sweater, and then a Beckenbauer track pant. So really, the top-selling products, which you see below here, resonate within that creative. So again, important to keep it consistent. Affiliates. Deal Moon, everyone know what an affiliate is? Yes, some. So affiliate is essentially somebody that's going to help promote your products on their own website. And when they help drive traffic and a sale to your website, you will give them a commission. So here's an example that we have run in Canada with a company called Deal Moon. So Deal Moon is a Chinese-facing website with the Mandarin language. But we felt like this really resonated with our consumer in the Vancouver and even Toronto areas, so we wanted to test it out. We really had no idea. It's the first time we ever went into a third language marketing. Canada's languages are primarily, well, English and French. It's the first time we went into a third language. The results were amazing. They became essentially the second largest affiliate in our program within about a month. It now drives 20% of our overall affiliate sales and has a return on ad spend of about $12, which kills all the other affiliate partners. I want to talk about another type of an affiliate, and this is more influencers. So if some of you didn't know, under the Adidas name brand, Reebok is part of it. So we wanted to get Les Mills, which is essentially like a workout company that specializes in kind of boot camp workouts and cardio workouts routines. So we wanted to get a way that we could connect with those instructors. They're sitting at the front of the class, right? They are essentially the influencer in this group. This is what people that are doing the workout look to aspire to. So we said, how do we get connected with them? So we wanted to set them on as an affiliate. So we worked with this one woman named Megan Fit in her blog to essentially work with us to get her audience aware that with her partnership with Reebok, you can get a discount on some Reebok products. So she posts on her website. You see in the bottom here. She posts on her blog, she posts on her social channels, and then what's really cool is after every single workout she does, she tells the group of about 40 or 50 people what she's wearing. And it's always Reebok or Reebok Les Mills. And she said why she loves it. And this is the true influence that is helping us expand into a different target market that we couldn't really talk to. So now we essentially have a direct one-to-one communication through Megan. So she is now the second largest affiliate in the Reebok program, generating 16,000 sales and a $16 ROAS in just over 3 months. Managing your data. This can be difficult. If you don't have a DMP, don't worry about it. I think what I want you to realize here is we have tons of different silos. You have retail data, you have maybe Wi-Fi data, app data, Google DoubleClick, Facebook, and CRM. They are all siloed. Bring them together. Work with a data management platform, or work with if you have an audience manager on your team, to essentially create this kind of retention of a customer group that will then essentially help you figure out what are the best channels to reach these customers, whether it's through retail, through push notifications, or e-receipts, or social campaigns, or through e-com, through what we've just talked about for the past 15, 20 minutes is paid search, social campaigns, and retargeting. And I'll show you essentially why this is important. The current structure that most people have regarding retargeting profile, they all fall into different channels. They're siloed. So this is the example that shows it. So we have a .com consumer. We don't know who they are. Can't identify them. We have a paid social female consumer. Who's coming in through paid search. We have a programmatic person that's coming in through running page or going to the running page. We have another paid search, someone going to running shoes. And then we have site personalization telling us that this consumer has not logged in. We're not feeding them any information. So nothing's really personalized here. What essentially this DMP will do for us is this consumer that we don't know very much about will essentially consolidate the site data, the media data, the CRM data, and then they work with our data scientists or companies that you can pay to do this to essentially create these strategies that we then identify this running consumer that has high interest and intent to purchase with UltraBoost, and how we can essentially reach them through paid social, programmatic, paid search, or even just when they come back to our website. If we know they like running and they've made 5 running purchases, we want them to come back to our homepage and see a running product. We don't want them to see a men's basketball shoe. This can deter them from making their 6th purchase. So this is really important, and a really important part of managing your data is making sure you're using those customer groups to the best of your ability. So the last thing I want to talk about is like be an agent of change. And I said that in the beginning, that you are all creators here. You are who your companies or maybe your companies have enlisted you and hired you to be digital marketing experts. So I really want to challenge you to think about this presentation and what you can take away from it. So I want you to share your knowledge. This will help influence your company's direction. If they're not thinking digital, they probably should be. I want you to be collaborative with knowledge experts, be creative with innovation, be confident, and if you fail fast and fail forward. And this is something that my current director told me once when a project I did was not working, and for lack of a better term, I will say failed. Good thing he's not here today, but what he said essentially was, learn from what happened, better it for next time, and manage those expectations. So one thing I just want to show you here on the iPad view is a digital training camp that we developed in-house with local resources to essentially try to reach the mass employee base at our company. We have about 250 employees in Canada and a digital team of about, well, I'll say about 10 people that touch digital marketing. I wanted to be able to have someone in finance think about a data management platform, or think about AI, or think about machine learning and how they can incorporate that into their daily lives. So we developed a curriculum of 5 programs. Essentially, the first session was based on what is a digital consumer journey these days. The second one is we enlisted our media company, Cara, to talk about who is the Canadian consumer in our market. Who are we targeting? Who are we not targeting that we should be targeting? We brought in Adobe to talk about data and capturing data and technology and how we leverage the two to create seamless experiences. The fourth one, we brought in iProspect to talk about omnichannel. Like that example I gave, we know people are starting their research on a mobile phone but making a purchase in retail. We wanted to figure out more about what does this look like in Canada? What does it look like for our brand? What are we doing that we're not? What are we doing that's great? How do we keep that going? And then the last session, we brought in Google to talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning. And I said to them, I don't want this to be focused on an Adidas or Adidas brand. I want this to be the artificial intelligence presentation about how this is going to change the world. And they came in and blew us away, and it was amazing. And then after those 5 sessions, we shrunk the group of 50 down, and we took the top 16 based on attendance, engagement, how they've been participating. And we essentially put them into groups of 4, and then we challenged them to do a real-life business case on everything they've just learned on that challenge that we're having in our company right now, and what we can do to essentially change it. And what we saw was amazing. I remember when someone in HR was talking about, we should use a DSP. We should use programmatic advertising. We're not doing it well enough with the Reebok's Classic consumer. And I kind of went, oh, that's my job, and apparently we're not doing a good job at it. But it was great, and the point I'm making is you need to empower people, right? Your job in digital marketing is never finished. So the more you empower people to get people on board, the easier it will become to infect change and create new things. And like I said, digital marketing is constantly changing. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in 2 years, and I don't think anyone else here does. And if you do, I'd like to meet you and maybe partner with you on something. So, but again, your job's never finished. Keep looking forward. And just like the next video I'm about to show with the Originals brand, keep pushing forward. Oh, no, I lied. Last thing, I just want to recap quickly the 3 things to take away. Identify your consumers, define KPIs that will give you success metrics, and then leverage data across all the different marketing channels with your consumers. So with that, can we roll the last video? There we go.
Can I just stop?
Push up, baby. Push up, baby. Push up, baby. Yenda, baby. Yenda.
Can I just start? Keep pushing on. Things are gonna get better. It won't take long. Keep on pushing to the top. Keep 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 pushing, 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 pushing. And I just start all over. Can I just start all over? Keep pushing, 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 pushing.
So there you go.